Hello and welcome back to Drum Key. This is the podcast where we like to talk about everything drums, drummers, and drum industry. We are recording this live to tape inside of the Drummers Pro Shop, Drums, etc.
in beautiful Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Nailed the cue. I'm Adam Steck. This is my co-host, Mr. Shawn Groff. How are we today?
I am excellent. We are ready to go. We're here. We're with one of my good friends. I'll let you announce him, later on here. But
Oh, I see. You're not talking about me.
Oh no. Oh,
I'm here with one of my greatest friends.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta say though, there are a lot of similarities between me and him.
well, you both have the same name.
That's where it ends. There's one similarity between
You
us.
both are drummers.
There we go. That's two.
You both work in the drum business.
Three.
I'm reaching here, man.
That's it. Hey, I cannot pull off a bow tie. He surely can. So he's got one up on me there.
He pulls it off every night when he has to go to bed.
This is not a humor
Come
podcast.
on, man.
There are boos from
Come
the studio
on, man.
audience. We're gonna get shut down for stuff. Watch yourself. But no, we do have a guest later on in the show. It is Adam from Meinl. That's how you guys may have known him. That is his username out on social land, on the Instagram. Yeah. He is a drummer, like we had mentioned before. He is actually Drums Etc's Meinl rep, the representative.
Longtime rep.
Yep, Meinl Cymbals and Percussion. Longtime rep and a great friend of ours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to have him on later. But while you're listening, check out his Instagram, Adam from Meinl. He goes through and posts different stack combinations. So if you've
Cymbal stacks.
Cymbal stacks. Yeah, cymbal stack combinations. So check that out while you're tuning in, while you're listening to us in the background. But I think we're going to go ahead and start off our show with our favorite segment, Crank It Up, Turn It Down. All right, so Crank It Up, Turn It Down. In this segment, I like to read controversial drum habits and get Mr. Shawn Groff's impression on those. Now, we've had a few episodes where you're cranking something up, cranking it up if you dig it, turning it down if it's not your style.
I've been known to crank it down as well.
If you really dislike something, he cranks it down. He breaks the
known.
rules. But
There are no rules.
let's start off here. Shawn, crank it up, turn it down.
Crank it up, turn it down. Let's do it.
Nylon tip drumsticks.
Crank it up, baby.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Big
yeah.
fan of the nylons?
Big fan of the nylon tips. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
Because that's your next question.
That's my...
Why? Well, tell me why. I want to know. I'm going
Yeah.
to tell you. Well, when you play nylon tip, you get a brighter sound on the cymbal. On the drums, you're not going to notice so much the style of wood versus nylon. On the cymbals, you will notice the difference. Also, nylon doesn't tend to chip the same way wood does. When you're playing wood tip drumsticks and they break apart,
You get a flat spot.
you get a flat spot. I call it a dead spot, where it sounds real mushy feeling and sounding.
Sure.
And it's not as consistent or bright. So with that being said, I think nylon is a great way to go. On the other side of that, folks will complain, oh, well, the nylon tips go flying off. Oh, they fly off while I'm playing.
Right, because they're essentially glued onto the end of the stick.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, some companies will actually mold the tip of the nylon onto the actual shape of the tip of the stick, so it won't go flying off. So they've come a long way. If you've never played nylon tip drumsticks, you should. I think that
give them a
they're
try.
great. Crank it up. Yeah, crank it up.
Cranking it up.
Yeah,
Give it a
let's do
try.
it.
Yeah, and again, like you said, they're making them a lot differently now. A lot of the mainstream companies that you're familiar with. So if you tried the prototype nylon tip drumstick, back when Drums Etc. was hot, late 80s through the 90s, and that was a very different stick than today.
Yeah.
So they're
Crank it
constantly
up.
improving, making slight tweaks, making things better. So cranking up nylon tips. I got another one for you. Shawn, crank it up, turn it down, cajones.
Crank it up.
Wow,
Yeah,
two up. All right.
2 up. Crank it up. I love cajones. I think they're fun to play. We do well with them selling them, and there's a lot of interest in cajones, and I think that for a lot of acoustic situations and even non-acoustic, because nowadays, there's pickups installed in these cajones. You can plug it in, plug it into an amplifier or your PA or whatever else to get some juice or bass out of it. So I'm cranking it up. I like cajones. They're fun to play. You can play different rhythms on it, and it's a beatbox. If you like beatbox rhythms and stuff like that, crank it up, baby. I like. I don't personally own one. I would like to have one, but
Yeah,
I don't
you play
own
them
one.
at the shop all the
Yeah,
time.
I play them at the shop all the time. I have my signature licks.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
copied them.
Oh,
It's like,
I love
here's
your
my Shawn
your
Groff lip.
cajon.
Yeah.
The Shawn Groff cajon demonstration
Yeah.
is a very specific number of rhythms.
Yeah.
And it's great.
I saw
It's
a lot
great.
of them.
Yeah, yeah. Very good at
With those-
highlighting
with
the different
those-
tonalities.
Yep, with those demonstrations are like, psh, I want to be like that guy.
That's what does it, folks.
That's it.
No, but I have a couple of cajones. I have played them in different variations. Played them by themselves. Hooked up a cajon pedal to them.
You have
and
the
used
old
them as a bass drum.
build your own cajon. You've actually
I did
done
that too.
Yeah.
I built one of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of them
And
I have right
stained it
now.
and did
yeah.
everything?
Yeah, did it up. You can make your own cajon if you're a little crafty. All sorts of different things. But whatever you do, start your hunt, start your search at your local drum shop. Go in, play a bunch, see what you like, see what you don't like. That's the beauty of having a store like this.
Yeah.
You don't have to just guess based on a picture online.
Right, just try them all out. There's different styles, so I'm cranking it up.
Cranking it up.
Cajones are great.
Cranking both up. Amazing.
Those were easy ones.
Yeah, those were very quick answers. I was surprised. I not that I thought you were going to turn something down necessarily, but I knew you didn't have a cajon. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, cranking up nylon tips, cranking up cajones, very easy. Let's move on to some drum industry news. All right, so drum industry news. This is where we talk about topics in the drum industry that folks might not be that aware of. So
I might not be aware of this.
you might not be aware of this. We'll see. We'll see. You are a part of the drum industry and have been for a very long time.
Right.
So I
But
don't
I'm-
think there's going to be any surprises
Well,
for you.
There's a lot of things I'm not aware of, so
Well, we'll
we'll
see.
see.
Let's talk about
True
product launches.
Product launches.
Yeah. So when new items are launched into the drum world, they can enter at different points. They can be strategically placed at certain times. We talked on the last show about NAMM, the NAMM show.
Right.
So that there are two shows that happen: Summer NAMM, Winter NAMM. Winter NAMM is typically where more drum and percussion companies do release a lot more product, right?
Yes.
So that typically happens at the beginning of the year in January. Next year it'll be back in January because COVID kind of made things wonky for a little bit, but it'll be back in January next year. And product launches. This is something that people don't really know when it's coming. It seems kind of random, but from our point of view and talking with reps in different companies, there's a lot of thought that goes behind it. Yep. All right, Shawn. There's a lot of thought that goes behind
Show's over, folks. Let's
So
go.
Shawn's like, yep, sounds
There
good
are.
to me.
Well, I'm waiting to see where you go with
Yeah.
this because, sure, things are, announced and shown at NAMM, but then there are times throughout the year where you just get a random email like, hey, this is new and blah, blah.
Right, this is coming
and,
out,
And
yeah.
that happens a lot,
Right.
where I see it and I'll talk to you about it. Hey, did you get that email from this company or so-and-so? Adam from Meinl sent
Right.
this or whatever else.
Right.
And you go, oh, okay. So sometimes it's not even a big announcement or where they're anticipating an announcement. Just boom, here it is. Hey, we have these new sticks, or hey, this
is
happens.
happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Other times, I'm made aware of things, and I'm not embarrassed to say this. A customer will make me aware of something.
Absolutely. There are so many companies and so many different offshoots, new companies starting every day, different product lines.
Yeah.
And sometimes we find out about stuff at that moment too, and that's because a lot of the industry is very secretive about what's going on. And the process, I was going to mention, the process of releasing a new product does not start with the release date. There's been sometimes years, at least months of R&D, development behind the scenes to get that product just right.
Yeah, and they keep it close to the chest. They don't go say, "Hey, we're developing something here. We're
Right.
working to."
Right.
You don't want to let that stuff
No,
out.
by the time you see a teaser like big things coming soon, it's already been in the works for
Yeah.
quite some time.
Sure.
Now, I want you to touch on signature products. Because a lot of times, a lot of these big releases at these shows are like this so-and-so's signature model.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Well, a lot of that means is, it's attached to a particular artist or, drummer usually, in our case,
Right.
that has a certain name and following and is an influential type of drummer, and they'll put his name on a particular snare drum. Usually get together with him or her
Yeah.
to develop a new stick, a new percussion instrument, tambourine, drum head.
Right.
And these guys that are these next level really great drummers that you see out playing all over, and they'll get together with these guys and come up with something really cool and neat, and usually their name is attached to it.
Absolutely.
And that helps move and sell their product in most cases.
Right. And that is also the birthplace of a lot of prototype things. Whether it's, say, let's use cymbals for instance. Every year we usually have the Meinl Cymbal Tour show up. We just did a UFIP cymbal tour. We do that kind of thing, special events. And we'll have, in addition to your standard SKUs and a wider selection that you normally see here, we'll also have a lot of prototypes. And people are like, what is this about? That's the research and development that's going on. A lot of times the artist says, hey, I want this, but tweak the bell. I want this, but want it a little bit different.
I like the prototype stuff. That stuff is so super neat and so super cool.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of other people do too. Everyone wants something that's special.
Yep.
And
one of a kind.
Yeah, one of a kind type of deal. So I like, and I'm no different. I like to see a lot of that stuff. When we had the Meinl Cymbal Tour come through, and they had those one of a kind cymbals, and they had the big. I think it was even a 28-inch ride. Am I right? 28. It's that big, huge ride. It was so fun to play. I've never played a 28-inch ride.
Wild.
I'm like, oh god, I got to try this. And we had done 2 Meinl Cymbal Tours, and was that a signature ride by any? No.
Just a prototype.
Who was involved with that?
Just a bigger model of an existing.
Okay.
Just trying different sizes.
Yeah, and it had come through twice on our tour.
Yeah.
I guess no one pulled the trigger on it because it's so neat and so awesome, but it's like maybe not as
a
practical,
lot of metal,
not
man.
versatile,
Yeah.
and very expensive too. But it was so much fun to play. So
Yeah.
super cool, so super neat. I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. A big takeaway from these product launches and just talking about this sort of thing is, like you mentioned, keep us in the loop. We'll keep you in the loop.
Right.
We are hip to when things come out, but a lot of it hits all at once with this NAMM show or a mid-year release, something like that.
Sure.
And all the different brands, not to mention, all the different places. So let's, work together to have that. But let us know. Reach out to us immediately if you're interested in something, because a lot of times with a product launch, especially like the top of the year, like the yearly product launch, there's also going to be limited edition items. So they're only going to create 25 of these kits, or create this, those big pop at the show, like, oh, I haven't seen that in this many years, or like they're bringing this back. A lot of time that's a limited edition run. And if you want to get your hands on one, let us know. We'll get your name on that list, that wait list, to make sure you do get one,
Yes.
You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right. Well, I think that's good. I think we'll move on and induct our next inductee into the Hall of Fame. All right, so Hall of Fame is where we like to highlight different pieces of gear, whether it's a game-changing piece of gear, whether it's something that has, crossed into new territory, a great invention, improvement upon an idea. We're really expanding out in this category.
Yes.
So today we are going to be highlighting, or I should say, fifth?
Ready.
The fifth inductee into the Drum Key Hall of Fame is the Meinl HCS Cymbal Pack. This is going to be so easy in our little studio to display. Very nice. The Meinl HCS Cymbal Pack. Now, what is special about this? This is a cymbal pack that is not made of bronze like you're used to seeing out there. It's made of brass.
Yes.
Right? And so up until these cymbals came out, your typical brass cymbals were the real thin, junky ones that would bend and crack and get all dinged up.
Yeah, my first cymbals were TKO Percussion. I still remember it.
Yeah, and they're real thin, punched out of brass. Don't sound too great, just designed to get you started. We talked about that a little bit on the drum.
That's right.
When we were talking about...
we call them pie plates.
We call them pie plates. They're just to get you started. Essentially what you're paying for when you get a big bundle deal that comes with everything. You're paying for the drums, you're paying for the hardware, but they just throw in some cymbals to get you started for the first 6 months. This, on the other hand, these cymbals, on the other hand, are made of brass, but they're made in such a way that they sound great and they're durable. Very similar to like a B8 bronze or something like that as far as like the construction of it, if you're familiar with that. This is the crash cymbal right here. But yeah, definitely a game changer. They took something that was there, Meinl did, and improved upon it, made it a higher quality.
And not only that, but this has been one of our best-selling cymbal packs over the past probably 10 years. It comes in at a great price. Sometimes they'll even give you an extra cymbal or what have you. But you get a 20-inch ride, you get a 16-inch pair of hats, and you get a
14-inch pair of hats.
Oh, 14-inch pair of hats. What is it? 16-inch crash. What is that?
16-inch
20-inch
crash.
ride, 16 crash, 14 hats. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, I'm messing up here. But they're made in Germany. And not only do we do well with them, but they also are included with the Tama Imperial Star drum set.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of you might be familiar with seeing the Tama Imperial Star. You can typically pick out a modern day Imperial Star by the AccuTune hoops. So they're not going to have wood hoops with claws. They're going to have those plastic, essentially this plastic composite hoops that are black that the tension rods just go right through. Mm-hmm. Those kits are a great deal, but they partner with Meinl Cymbals, and that pack, no matter what kit you get, configuration you get a ride, a crash, and a pair of hats.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you get a splash thrown in there too, depending on the year.
And
so
they're sold individually, but we're talking about the pack itself, right?
We're talking about the pack.
Yeah.
The pack, the whole, because that's what you
can
need.
get an 18. You can get a splash, like you said, with this.
Yeah.
You can add on China cymbals,
little
small
effects,
ones. Yeah, bells.
effect stacks.
The bell,
I
think is
great little guy.
Yeah, totally. So this is a great pack if you have budget cymbals right now, and cymbals can be so damn expensive.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I think this thing comes in under $300 maybe, and you get a ride, a crash, a pair of hats. I think it's the way to go. They sound excellent too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sound good. And the reason we're highlighting the pack too is like if you're starting out or you have another,
do
that.
So
it's
going to
fall.
fall. It's going to
fall. If you have those people listening are so confused. It's just me like scolding you, like, don't do it, Shawn.
I think I put a couple of things up
You
here
did,
that fell.
and they all fell.
Yep.
No, but if you're starting out and you're looking for a great sounding pack of cymbals, or you want to set up a second kit in your room, they're affordable, they sound great, and like I said, they're a game changer because up until this point they've been pretty laughable. But just to get you started,
right?
That's the concept
For sure.
Start there and move on up as we do. We love cymbals. You and I love cymbals.
Yeah.
You even said last podcast that you love them more than drums.
I think I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I know I do.
I can totally see it. We just get so excited when we get new cymbals.
Right.
There's something about that. I mean, new drums are obviously one thing, but there's just a whole different feeling.
Yeah, and I always, when I'm talking about cymbals and such, if I went to a rehearsal spot and they provided the gear for me, if I walked in and they had a set of HCS cymbals there, I would be fine with that. I'm like, cool.
Yep.
Fine.
You're not loading your cymbals in.
If I'm not loading my cymbals in and these cymbals were there waiting for me,
yep,
I would be totally fine. I wouldn't for rehearsal. I mean, if you're doing some recordings, you want some, high grade quality cymbals. But these things play well.
You rock them.
Very effective. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, let's move on to quick question. All right, so quick question. He's still holding the cymbal.
I'm holding the cymbal, man.
It's all right. You can play it.
I'm going to sleep
set
with
a stand
tonight.
right here. So, quick question. This is where we highlight questions that are never have a quick answer, I should say. This comes from personal experience. Folks walk in the store and they say, hey, quick question. And you know if they start with that this is going to be the rest of your afternoon sometimes. It's always, sometimes the question itself is a short question, and a quick question, but the answer has all of these follow-up questions and a lot of conversation.
Yeah. It's almost like an icebreaker, but it's not a quick question. Usually isn't. Mm-hmm. Usually is not.
Yeah, usually not a quick question.
So what's a quick question?
It's a long conversation. All right, so here's the quick question for today. And we'll dive into who might be asking this question because we've gotten this question from many different types of folks. Hey Shawn, quick question.
Yes.
Who's the best drummer?
Oh my gosh. That is not a quick question.
It's not.
That's a loaded question.
There you go. That should be the name of it.
Yeah, loaded question.
New
Yeah,
segment.
that really is, because there's a lot of different categories, and we just had Buddy Rich on. He would be one of the first people that would come to mind for your purist or whatever else. Would say, oh well, it's got to be Buddy
folks would
Rich.
go there.
But now I've seen this whole other spectrum of drummers come along since then, and I'm not an old guy. I'm not even of the Buddy Rich era, but coming up, the guys before me were it's like, hey, Buddy Rich, you don't know who Buddy Rich is?
Right.
I didn't come up listening to jazz or big band, but
Right.
drum teacher and coming into the shop and
of course.
you see Buddy Rich, who is this old man? You figure that out.
Yep.
So one of the quick answers would be, oh, it's Buddy Rich because of his versatility and his power and his finesse and it's just technique and all that kinds of stuff, and I think all those things make a great drummer. But
a lot of guys jump to Bonham. Keith Moon gets brought up a lot just because of his energy, And there's a lot of it is a little bit of a loaded question because are we talking about who has the best technique? Are we talking about who has the most energy? Are we talking about who gets your blood pumping? Who was the drummer at your first show that really got you introduced to drums? You know what I mean? All these things. We talked about Neil Peart on the show with Nonemacher and how a lot of non-drummers, this will transition to my next point here, a lot of non-drummers will be like, oh, you ever heard of the Neil Peart from Rush?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's got to be, he's the best, right?
Right. That's interesting. So I have a couple of notes I took here.
Yeah.
If it's a parent or someone, a parent of a student or a new student or someone that's is just getting into the drumming world or maybe not even a part of the drumming world, I'm sorry, folks. I'm dying over here. I'm dying. They want you to say that Neil Peart's the best drummer.
They want an answer. They want an answer.
They want an answer, but they want that to be the answer, I think.
Right.
I think they want to be like, Neil Peart, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like to confirm that
that
they know
look.
about drum.
They
I
give you
don't
that
know
look.
what it is. I don't know what happened. I don't know what kind of Rush propaganda has been pushed out there, but seems
they've been at it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think the best propaganda is when other people are saying it.
It's true.
It's like when you could say it enough times, but if you get your fans or whatever else saying it too, now it's grassroots.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, you got the big kit, you got the electronics of that time, and with the big kit, the acoustic, electric, there's a fly in here.
That's why we
usually close those doors. But it's interesting. So that person, there's the parent or new student that's really, I think, I broke this down a little bit. I think they're just hoping to recognize the name.
Yes.
They're hoping to recognize the name to feel included and inclusive.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're not going to answer this question. You and I are not going to answer this question. That's not part of this.
No.
We're going to talk about why this is not a quick question.
I've danced around the question.
Yeah.
That's my way of answering it. Because I'll name drop a few without name dropping one particular. Oh, he is the favorite, or he's the best. What I was going to say is, you could ask, oh, who's your favorite drummer?
That's a different question.
That's a different question.
Who's
your favorite?
Who's your favorite?
Who's the best and favorite? Two different things. So you might name a few just to show a little bit of respect to all the greats because there's so many different things.
It's kind of like you're paying tribute to yes, I know that he changed the game. I know that all of that.
Yeah.
And you can't say yourself, even if that's what you truly believe deep down. You can't. That's always the wrong answer. That's always the wrong answer. No, but here's another person that asked this question, and I think this is who we get it from the most. The longtime drummer. Someone who's been drumming their whole life, come in here and they ask this question. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong. Oh, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Just wait, and you can say it then.
Okay.
I think they're asking it because they want to tell you who their favorite drummer is.
That's right. Yeah.
Your answer doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't. Usually someone wants to talk about what.
Yeah, they're what they're interested in, of course. Yeah. And that's part of shop talk. We always talk about shop talk here at the drum shop. Is people coming in, they want to be able to talk about Neil Peart with someone who knows who he is, or who John Bonham, and they know that at the drum shop they're going to find someone that knows what's going on.
Yes.
So, there's one more person I want to talk about.
Okay.
This is, I don't want to say skeptical. I call this the inquisitive customer. They're waiting for your answer because they want to figure you out and size you up. So if they say, hey, who's the best drummer?
Right.
Who do you think's the best?
Yeah.
Depending on what you say, that's going to influence whether they want to shop here or not. It's true.
It very well could.
It's true.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's it. It's like a first date. This is like a first date question for a musician coming into a new store, new
Any
drum
red
shop.
flags popping up?
Any
you
red
know?
flags?
Like,
Yeah.
oh, Ringo Starr is my favorite. And now if you're
Right.
on the way other end, I'm not saying Ringo Starr is my favorite, but
Right.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
hypothetically, if you answer, oh, it's Ringo Starr.
Another popular answer.
Yeah, and your favorite is someone on the whole other end of the spectrum.
Yep.
And you turn your nose up at the simplicity of Ringo Starr or whatever else. Yeah,
Yep.
you're gonna.
Or if you're expecting
now,
Ringo
all of a
Starr.
sudden, your opinion is going to be
Your opinion's going to change the view. It's the first impression thing. Sometimes
Right.
people use that to gauge. If you said if you're expecting Ringo Starr and someone says Mike Portnoy,
Yeah.
that also says something.
Sure
Do
does.
we have something in common? Do we not? That's a reaction. You
Yeah, it
see?
is.
So it's interesting. But who's the best drummer? Long story short, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And it's all preference. I think a better question, like you were saying earlier, is like, oh, who's your favorite? Who are you digging right now?
Sure.
Talk about who you're listening to.
Yeah.
And the band has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah. And a lot of times, there's so many great drummers right now that are just great. I don't want to say just great drummers, but they are great drummers, and they might not play in the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Right.
or Kings of Leon, or
Right.
whoever's popular right now.
Or the most recorded drummer.
Yeah.
Whoever's in the most
Exactly,
studio work.
yeah.
That could be considered the greatest.
Because it would be, when we would play these drum videos and such, and these great, excellent drummers are up there playing, and they're, doing their thing, and, someone would ask, oh, who's he play for? Expecting you to say, he's the original drummer from Metallica, or
Right,
something
right,
goofy
right,
like
right.
that. They want an answer like that, and they're like, well,
Who's
he's
he
a
played
session
for?
player. He's played on this record, but he's not he doesn't play in a popular top 40 band.
Yep. Or at least not anymore.
Or not-
whatever it might be. Yeah. I think we did a good job at addressing that question. That is something that's not. It's an interesting conversation that happens after that, because based on what they're looking to get out of it, I just think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the quick questions dive into like psychology and like, what are you really after? What is the meaning of drumming? What is the meaning of life? It gets a little intense sometimes, or maybe we're just delusional and we think that drumming should be this, like Nanamaka was saying with the lab coat and the Bunsen burner. Do we really need to delve into it, or we can just say, I like Ringo. Sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
There's a place for your
He's got the
Bunsen
groove.
Spriggleys around, but
Right.
you
Hey,
know,
this is not that place.
it's not that place.
Not here on Drum Key.
Right.
We say it how it is. All right. Well, let's quick plug our guest before we bring him on.
Let's plug him.
Like we said earlier, Adam from Meinl is here.
Yes,
or as
he is.
I like to call him, he's somewhere out there.
Yeah.
I like to call him 1.0. I consider myself the new and improved version of him because he's older.
You're 2.0.
I'm 2.0.
I have heard you say that.
I am 2.0.
And it's funny too. Like, speaking of that, there's this ongoing thing that happens with our emails where, like, I'm meaning to, and this just happened the other day.
Yep.
I meant to email Adam from Meinl, and I emailed you back to Rick. He would do it all the time, and he would put,
yeah.
Adam from Meinl would get our personal
Yep.
confidential emails.
He would get Adam, you were late this morning.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up with that? No, I'm just kidding.
But I do it like,
and then I would get orders, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
I'll try to satisfy these orders,
It's
but
just
I don't
funny.
have that many symbols
It's
at
funny,
home,
man. It's funny. I don't know where I was going with that.
It is
but,
funny. No, just we have the same name.
Oh, you have the same name.
Again, back to the
Yeah.
three things we
Yeah.
have in common.
Yeah, 2.0,
But yeah,
3.0, 4.0.
We can bring him on here. I'm very excited to get part of his journey that I actually don't know too much about his start in drumming or the industry, but then also to just dive into what a rep is. That's what we're trying to do here on Drum Key, is like give different insights into the drumming world. And this is another business side.
Right.
We had the retail thing. Now let's talk about the rep.
We had the teacher thing, the
We had
retail
teacher
thing. Yeah.
education, all sorts of things.
This is a coup. I
This
like this.
is-
This
this
is
is a lot.
awesome.
All right, let's bring him on. Let's start Between the Plies. All right, we are back here with Adam. We got Adam and Adam on the show.
Hi.
It's like a mirror. It's like
A really ugly mirror.
it's
Oh.
I knew there was going to be something coming. This is going to be an extremely long interview, mainly because it's going to be a lot of groaning and sighing at the horrible humor that's about to come out. No, but Adam from Meinl, Adam better known as Adam from Meinl.
That's what people know me as.
That is true. We're just going to keep repeating each other because we have the same thoughts at the same time. That's how our names work. See,
Yes.
what am I thinking of right now?
Chicken.
That's exactly right. 100%. He's got me pegged. All right.
numbers are behind your back?
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Still chicken.
It is still chicken.
Yeah.
I won't show the audience. So, moving forward, let's talk about how you got involved, first of all, in just drumming in general.
What's that?
Well, he doesn't know a lot, folks. We're just like, you know when you use the sticks and you play
Oh,
the-
right.
right, exactly.
Well, I mean,
How did it start? How did it start for you?
well, I was
How'd you end
born-
up here?
I
That's
was-
really what we're getting at. How'd
I
you
took
end up here?
a plane and then I drove.
Yeah, but we're just going to go way before that.
Okay. Well, I was born at a very young age, and no, I mean, I had a semi-musical family back in growing up. My mom sang, and Sweet Adeline still does, and played in band in high school, and so I mean, did piano when I started piano when I was like 5. Did choir in
Okay.
grade school, and then when 5th grade comes around to start playing, join band. I'm like, I want to play drums, and they said, no, you're not mature enough to play drums. Which even
Wow.
at that age, I was like,
You're like, wait a minute.
it's drums. I'm like, okay, well, I'll fine. I'll play trombone, and then they're like, no, you can't play a brass instrument because you're gonna mess up your teeth worse than they already are, and braces later on. And
Wow, yeah.
I'm like, so I did saxophone, and then in junior year, we had a new drumline instructor in high school, and he's like, any kid not in drumline who wants to learn how to play drums, come after school on the non-band days, and
Perfect.
so I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And then at the end of that first semester, I told my parents I'm going to switch to drums, and they said, no, you're not. I'm like, well, then I'm
Wow.
going to quit band. And they're
Yeah.
like, no, you're not. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, well, then I'm going to actively fail. And they said, you can play drums. And then I had to do the same thing to the band director.
Nice,
And then,
yeah.
so year and a half of drums, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went to college. Actually chose the college I went to based on the hats they used in marching band.
Oh, as you should.
As not the academics, but it
No.
turned out to be a really great school.
Yeah,
for,
what-
for
what-
music
what
business.
school was this?
I went to Western Illinois
Okay.
University.
And more importantly, what did the hats look like?
I was just purple Aussie hats with. I mean,
Yeah, Brad.
it's fine. The hindsight, they weren't as cool up close. They looked
They
just
weren't.
cool in the
Don't
picture.
Google it. Everyone's Googling it.
And then majored in music business to focus on percussion, and then immediately got a job teaching at a music store, part time, filling
Yep.
in for people, and then
Yep.
said, okay, you really need to have me on the floor, and then I sold drums for 6 months, less than
Okay.
that, and then
That's all you can only last 6
Yeah.
months in this business. Hey, it's hard. Not
Well, I
everyone can
bet-
do it.
I
Not
had
everyone
met-
has what it takes, folks.
I had met the vice president at the time of Meinl through industry contacts, through school contacts and alums,
Okay.
and just bugged him, sent him an email every 6 months going, you have any job openings? You have any job openings? Have any job openings? He finally said, we have a job opening.
Perfect.
And I said, I'll take it. Wait, no, what is it? And then, and what is it?
Minor
And what,
detail.
and can I, is it pay enough?
Right.
And
Do we get paid?
can I afford to live?
Sure.
But I already said I'll take the job. So
Nice.
And then 16 years later, I got this spot on a podcast called Drum K.
Drum
I'm
K?
not much of a reader,
It's okay. It's
Okay,
okay. You don't
yeah.
need it.
so it seems to be working out.
So yeah, and then what happened after the podcast?
After the podcast,
Yeah, what happened after the podcast?
we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll
I guess
find out.
we'll find out together.
That's tomorrow
Um,
is another day.
Tomorrow is another day. Awesome. Well, yeah, I'm sure a lot of folks who have worked in the retail industry in some fashion know that you got to get the stuff from someone. Someone else has the stuff. You buy the stuff. You sell the stuff. That's basically how it breaks down, folks. And there are people who work for the people who have the stuff, and that's you. And so this is a way that I find out what's new. That's what we were talking about earlier, is those product launches, things like that. He's the one that educates us. So
Yes.
if we don't know what you're talking about and it's a Meinl product, it's this man's fault.
Or they just didn't listen.
That's true. Or we didn't listen. I'd put more in that category. No, but just a quick question here. Who's the best drummer?
Yes.
Okay. I just
The
thought
drum.
I'd keep you on
Well,
your toes.
hang on. You could. The drummer from Yes could be.
Oh,
Although
yeah.
he is a pretty good drummer.
There
Let's
you
put that
go.
out there. That would be the one. Yes, Billy B.
William?
William Bruford.
William Bruford. Good pick. Yeah, so if you could quickly talk about just a little bit about what you do. I know when I emailed you about this, you said maybe I should figure out what it is I actually do. If there are folks out there looking to be a part of the industry, don't necessarily want to be on the retail side, potentially they live in Music City, the city of brotherly music. Is that what it's called? Nashville? The city of brother everything. We're close to Philly, so.
The left kahuna, right?
That's what it's called. Yeah. Nashville. Yeah.
Nashville, yes.
That's a good place to start because there are a lot of companies
There are a lot of companies there.
And
they're all hiring. We're all hiring. Some position is open.
Yeah. So say someone wants to do this or is looking at different options. What is the role of a rep?
What rep stands for representative?
Good. You have that written on your hand. I see that.
I represent. I'm the contact. If anyone has any I have a territory of stores. Usually people have a little region and they stick to all the stores in that region. Meinl does things a little differently, and we try and find the right fit. I have a general region, but then there's stores like, oh, this guy may not know, or this guy, I think I don't get along with him. Like, you want to try it, and then someone else starts doing that one. I've passed off stores, I've gained stores, and so I don't really. I mean, I have somewhat of a territory, but I go to all the stores, and I say, hey, buy my stuff, and they go, why? I'm like, because people want it, and then if you sell it, and then they have it, and then it's perfect. Yeah. But I stand behind the product that I'm selling, which isn't something that is necessary, but it definitely helps with some,
of course, yeah,
some legitimacy and
of course,
the other words that I can't think of.
Yeah, but you also are a drummer too.
Yes.
There are a lot of disconnects in the industry where hey, I'm gonna be your so and so rep, and you're like, oh yeah, what are you playing, or what do you think of these hi-hats? And it's like, well, I primarily play bass. Or
we have a few of those guys too.
There's always a little bit of that. So it's really awesome having your insight into the product. I can be like, hey, give it to me straight. What are these things like? How do they compare to this from 10 years ago? And you can tell me because you were there.
And thanks. I am old. Yes,
it's true.
I mean, I wanted to work for Meinl when I discovered them in early college, which was way back in, walked uphill 40 miles to school in the snow both ways.
He's older than he looks, folks.
And like Meinl wasn't even on the map yet at that point, and I discovered them, and I'm like, oh, these guys are doing something different. I like that, and I always like to work for the underdog. Always like the underdog brand, and someone who's making something awesome that's just as spans the full range of entry level all the way to so boutique, it's really just for one person. Like, there's all that whole range, and not many companies do all of it and are still like unknown. But Meinl in the U.S. was at the time,
right?
So it was cool to get involved, and like just had to work for them. So I guess I put it on my spirit board and just willed it into existence.
You willed it into existence,
which I kind of did. I whittled down someone's patience, and they just finally offered me a job. But
that's a great strategy. It's called tenacity for these fancy folks who read, these readed folks.
Yeah. Being a massive gearhead really helped with it all. Like I actually didn't get hired to do sales initially. I got hired to put in the merchandise displays in stores, and after a couple months, and then work in the warehouse and when I wasn't traveling. And after a couple months of doing that, the president of the company realized that I knew the catalog better than everyone else in the building combined. So they're like, well, let's put him into sales. And I'm like, cool. What do I do? Well, call the store, see if they need anything. And they gave me a list of like 40 stores that were already active. And 40 minutes later, I'm like, now what? No one needed anything. And that's definitely changed. Now I dodge calls from people that I don't want.
Hey, now.
I mean, no, I never
pointing
dodge
at
any.
Now I dodge calls.
No.
Hey,
Sorry, I'll be out of the office. When your canned messages have typos in them, I know that you're just typing them out. One for me.
I want to say that you are so good at merchandising that you still do it, especially for the NAMM show. They have you come out and merchandise that whole area, right?
Yeah, you're still recruited for merchandising.
Yes,
For at location for
Yeah, I'm-
displaying the new stuff, but then also at the NAMM show, like we were talking about.
Yeah, when we do trade shows, I am the trade show coordinator, and then I'm still in charge of all the merchandise displays, and I come up with packages and stuff, and see how much flour 10 pounds of flour in a 5-pound sack or whatever the non-vulgar phrase is, and
Yep.
like how it's just trying. How can I fit all this on there? Because there's
Yeah.
I mean, we have suggestions for like here's what to stock based on top sellers and stuff. And I initially, when I first made that like 10 years ago, I was like, all right, as a drummer, classically trained drummer but also aware of it.
Right.
Like,
right.
and I start like writing down I get my order sheet out, and I'm like, all right, we need one of these, one of these, one of these, 2 of these. Okay. Well, if I was in it, like, what would I want to see in a drum shop or in the drum section to make me want to buy something, even if I don't even have money for it, let alone need anything. And I'm like, all right, I just need to get it to be around, maybe if I could get around like a $5,000 thing. And then I clicked all the things, and I like scrolled back up to the top to look at the total, and I'm like, I'm going to need to shave some of this off of there because that is $37,000.
Yeah. Yeah, and
and that was just me going, what do I want to see?
What would you want to see? Exactly. That's something that we talk about all the time. Shawn and I talk about the fact that in our ideal world, we have 3 of everything in the catalog. But like you said, Meinl covers the full spectrum. So it's very much like what do we want to see? What is interesting? What types of things are working? What isn't? And that's where we rely a lot on not only our own opinions, but customer feedback.
Yeah, it's what
Like,
consumers
huge.
want.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to do here. What determines that? We started to carry a lot of products that were recommendations or based on, hey, if you want to see something, let us know. We'll either get it in for you right away, or if, you're not going to buy it today, that's fine. We're going to make a note about that. And if we, see interest somewhere else, we'll shift and we'll change, adapt.
And consumers, everyone out there, if you don't see it doesn't matter what you're in, drums, clothing, golf, cars, whatever, if you don't see what you're looking for at a store, they can get it in. So if they have the brand, they can get it in. And if you don't tell them you're looking for it, they have no way of knowing you're looking for it.
Right, and they're never gonna get that
you can keep going on and searching for the next place, the next place, the next place until you find it, or you can just stay up at the first one and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this." It's hard to practice what you preach. It's hard to do that, but you can find. They can get it in, and then they'll know people are looking for it, and you help the store grow and get better, and they'll do better in the future because
I couldn't agree more.
They'll have more inventory dollars to spend on. Like they can, all right, they just got that djembe in for you, and now maybe they can get like 4 extra tambourines for you to check out, or another cowboy, or that snare drum that maybe you didn't know you wanted to see, but now you get there and you want to see it, and because you said I want this, I want to see this djembe.
Yeah, and it is truly like you have a lot of power as a customer to influence, or just a visitor or whoever you are, even if you're out of town and you're in a drum shop and you're like, oh, that's interesting, you have this, don't have this, just talk about it. Talk about it with them. There might be a reason. There might be a shortage. There might be this. Not saying there are excuses for not having it, but they just might not know that folks are looking for that. And things ebb and flow. I mean, we were talking about cajones earlier, and and Shawn cranked it up. He cranked up cajones.
Nice one. And
I
who
know.
makes the best?
Did you?
Meinl makes the best.
But did you expect me to do that?
I could have gone either way with that one with you, because you're more of the drummer.
Yeah.
Which
Drum set
I'm
drummer.
a garage band drummer.
Which sometimes you get that acoustic gig.
Sure, absolutely. But talking about that, here's something that like the shift from having a whole room full of djembes to then the cajon kind of infiltrated that a little bit to having at one point at the old shop keeping like 40 some up to 50 cajones on the floor at all times when that was hot. That trend was because people showed interest in it. People talked to their drum shops. People started buying them. That's what happens. So the earlier you can communicate that, the better.
Yeah.
It benefits us. It benefits you. You'll have more selection of it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's simple.
Yeah. And you should always try an instrument out before you buy it.
Yep.
Especially the first time. Buy online is fine. For the second time, we already know you liked it. So get another one.
Right. Yeah. And it's, and
always best. I always recommend to try it out first.
Yep, and we do a lot of we've been doing a lot of demo videos and social posts and stuff. That's just to pique your interest, so to be like, hey, that might be what it sounds like, but then come in and hear it. You know what I mean? And hopefully you have you're near us, or you have a local drum shop nearby that you can go and actually hear what it sounds like. You know, that idea. You know, as far as production quality, we're not going to put tons and tons of money into it to try to get it to sound like you're in the room, because realistically, you have to be in the room, or you're not wearing headphones. You're listening on your phone. You think you're listening to something on your phone, and you can tell it's a lot different when you're in person. You know, you might get
Absolutely.
lucky. I'm not saying it's impossible, but like you said, the best thing is to be in person hearing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So, you've been in the music industry for a long time,
A few years, yeah.
a few years.
Few years now.
You've seen a lot of drum shops.
I've
I'm
seen
not
a
fishing
lot
for
of drum
compliment.
shops.
I can see it bubbling on the back of your mind. You've seen a lot of drum shops. You are on two fronts with a drum shop. Every pro drum shop has percussion side of things, and every pro drum shop has the cymbal side of things, right? Cymbals and percussion. That is not the case with many other companies.
No.
You know, you don't debate buying a Meinl or a Zildjian cajon. You
Not
know?
yet. Who never?
Not yet.
Now
Hey.
she said something. Who knows what has
Yeah,
gonna happen?
well, this is where ideas are born, folks. The Zildjian cajons are the best. They're making them out of full bronze now. They weigh
that would be
500
an
pounds.
expensive
Oh, my,
cajon.
very, very expensive. Oh no, but you know, vice versa. You know, and the percussion and the cymbal thing. I want to get your take on being involved with a company that kind of dabbles in both genres. And now the Meinl like Sonic Energy stuff is an even different crowd. We have a lot of conversations about that. What is it like kind of talking with drum shops, talking with customers from all these different points of views?
All right. I mean, yeah, we do have. I mean, with Meinl, there's actually six different sub brands within it all, and they all have six very different demographics, different customer bases.
Okay.
But it still all falls together. Meinl is a German company. They and Mr. Meinl, the first Roland Meinl, he saw a void, and like people needed some cymbals, and it wasn't really available in Germany in the 50s. Look at some history, you'll know why. So he started making cymbals mainly for working drummers and beginners, and because this is what was needed. Then when his son came in, Reinhold, he helped get things going with getting percussion stuff started, because there's another void that was needed. So it was all about just seeing voids and then filling it. It was like they just wanted to work, and the work needed to pay off. So what was needed? So that start doing some percussion, and then it turned into. So we had Meinl cymbals, Meinl percussion, and then we added Nino percussion, and we added Ortega guitars, which that's a whole other side of things, but it is a really good brand that Meinl owns and started out of necessity for stuff. And then we started the Sonic Energy, which is our sound therapy stuff, a world wildly untapped, but people see it as a part of percussion. So a lot of similar suppliers, so we started making that stuff.
Right.
And it's fast growing, and it's hard to grasp your head around like sound therapy stuff. But it's huge market and some really impressive stuff happening on it.
Yeah, and a lot of great products you're putting out too. I mean,
and then we had as a separate for a while our Viva Rhythm, which is our drum circle line of instruments, but we reabsorbed that back into Meinl percussion because it didn't really need to be as separate as we thought for that long. It did its purpose. We got it out there.
Yeah.
And then we recently launched our stick and brush line, and kind of out of necessity. There was Meinl is a distributor as well as a manufacturer in Germany, and all of a sudden the stick manufacturer pulled out that they were working with. Like, well, we need a stick. Let's just start a stick company. It'll be easier than trying to find another brand that wants to leave the distributor they're with. And
just casually, Shawn, let's start a stick company.
Sure.
Everyone at Meinl's doing it.
We already do it, Adam. We have our own brand of drumsticks. We have a lathe in the basement.
It's true.
Hey,
If
this
you
is about
haven't
me
seen-
right now.
If you haven't seen the Drums Etc. basement, that's where we lathe all of our drumsticks, and we actually make the drums ourselves. That actually reminds me of a funny story. I remember at the New Holland location, the old shop. One time I was in the back shipping something. We had like a back room. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
The back dock, loading dock.
It's a fun building.
It was a wild. It's like very Chocolate Factory-esque. Just weird parts tagged on here, weird shapes. But yeah, I remember I was back there just shipping stuff out. That's where we would pack and ship orders, that sort of thing. And I remember someone opening the door and being like, "Oh, sorry," and I was like, "Yeah, this is just where we, And then I walked out and they were like, "Oh, is that where you make the drums?" Clearly, this is someone on their first trip, not listening to Drum Key, the Drummers podcast here, knowing that there's a whole infrastructure behind drum shops and actually making the gear. But I just thought that was kind of funny. They were like, "Oh, that's where you make them," and I was like, tempted to be like, "As a matter of fact, that's where we do." No, I told them the truth. I fessed up. But yeah, it's wild to see the company change and grow and add what's necessary, absorb things, move, shift. It's just like we're talking retail. It's just adapting to what's going on.
Yeah. It's nice. As a gearhead, it's nice to just see, like, if you're going to be this innovative on the cymbal side of things, which we have so many interesting innovations we've had through the years. Some great, some not so great, but that's true with everybody.
Of course.
And then you can also do that with percussion, and being a just classically trained percussionist and I want to learn a little of everything. It's like being able to have dip your hand in like this, all the different aspects of stuff without having to work for 9 different companies is it helps. It helps.
Yeah,
it helps keeps me focused and centered, and less likely for a mental breakdown. But we'll see if that's
right. Isn't that interesting though? Shawn and I talk about that. Is if we just have to do,
you're all losing your minds?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we talk about that a lot. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
It's not just me. Okay,
you're supposed
good.
to gather in a small room and talk about losing your minds together, right? That's what we're supposed to. I think we need a larger group. No, but we talk about the fact that like our days are bizarre. Like this phone call could happen. Someone walks in, does this. We're doing that. We're driving out to pick something up. We're dropping something off. We're shipping something. We're receiving. Like there are so many different directions that we get pulled in, and that's kind of what we enjoy. We kind of like the chaos,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about it. Could you quickly just, I wanted to ask you, because I know you've been involved in some design and some feedback and stuff for new products.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure folks would be interested in knowing what that's like.
The design process?
Or like, hey, I had this idea with someone. But yeah, basically the design process from idea to prototype, that sort of thing.
Okay. I mean, the first thing, if any idea that we come up with is on my side, I like a lot of weird stuff. So I first tell myself when I have an idea, is like, all right, is this for me or is this like a real thing? An actual, like this is something that people actually want. And then after I talk myself into it and into it, out of it and out of it and into it and out of it, then I'll go and present it to. We'll just have R&D meetings. I work for the U.S. distributor. Meinl USA is officially just the distributor for Meinl in the Western Hemisphere. But we work very closely because the U.S. is a huge part of the world market. So we work very closely with them, and so we'll throw out an idea. One of the things that I had a big hand in is we have all our foot tambourines and shakers and all these things. And most of them strap on the front of your foot, and I'm like, that never made sense to me. I was like, I don't tap my toe, I tap my heel.
Tap your heel, yeah.
So I'm like, what if we did a heel one, and then
that was you?
And then I'm
I didn't
like, what
realize
if
you were
we
involved
put
in
the
that.
stuff on the other side, and then I was like, what if it's just like a thing that goes down in the back of your shoe? And then my boss, he was like, you mean like a shoehorn? I'm like, that's it, that's the thing. So I went out and I bought some shoehorns, and I rubber banded some egg shakers to them, and it kind of worked out, and that was good. And then after we did that part, the next step was, well, what would this product thing sell for? That's kind of the next thing. What would people be willing to spend on it? So we look at like similar. We go online into stores, and we try and find similar type products. Like what would this sell for? In the cymbal, it's kind of easy. It's like, well, what series is going to be in and what size? All right, that'll sell for that much. But some things, it's like we have to find equivalents and kind of like, what would it be able to sell for? And then we go like, well, what can we make it for? Because if it's a brand new product, like a new shape and all these things. Now we got to make a new mold, which could be $20,000.
Right. There's
And if
cost.
the item's going to be sell for $5, you got to sell a lot of units. So it's cost and effective ratio. Like, is it always worth it? And then once we do that, then we start making the prototypes on it. So prototypes do cost more because we don't have the molds. It'll be like a CNC machine, and we'll make all this stuff, and we'll back and forth, and a lot of mailing from the factories overseas or from the factory in Germany to the USA, and then we'll make some tweaks, and then we'll send it back, and we'll back and forth, and then eventually we just figure, okay, yes, now we can make it. But wow, can we still do that price point where the store can still make money and Meinl can still make money? Because people always forget, like the price of goods pays for people's cost of living, and that's one thing the Meinl prides herself in, is that we try and make sure that everyone is fairly compensated for their time and is able to survive working on our stuff with us or for us or on our stuff. It's like you may think that $9 is a lot to spend on XYZ product, but like it's got to pay for someone. Like probably 30, 40 people on the low end have had some hand in getting it to you.
Yeah.
We all and they all want to make money too.
That's really interesting, though. I didn't
So
know,
the fact that we can make our stuff as affordable as we can is really impressive to me, and I'm really happy.
It's very important.
To capitalism.
No, yeah, I that's awesome to walk us through that process. And so I think it's safe to say that you do more than just show up and say buy the things, and if they want to buy the things, you write it down. And
That's why I had to figure out what I actually do.
I was going to say you're very involved behind the scenes.
Yeah, for stores, I just always told myself, like, what would I expect on the other hand, if I was in the air position from the person who represents the company, and I try and do that. I don't always succeed on my end, but I hear that I do a lot more for for most of my stores than a lot of other reps do, or some other reps do. No offense to any of them, but
no.
I just because I'm just drowning, thinking like, how can I get up? And I was just trying to make sure that I have to do the least amount of work as possible.
Yeah,
in a sense.
Listen, that's trying to be efficient. It makes total sense. No,
very
that's
German of me, I guess. Very efficient.
Yes, very good. You're starting to develop an accent, I noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very good, yes.
Very efficient. No, but that's awesome walking through that process. And I'd like to use this opportunity. What you said reminded me is a ton of times, I mean, not every day, but we'll get folks coming in and they see an idea, like a shaker that goes, the shoehorn that goes in your key, something like that. And they're like, oh, well, I can make one of that. I can make one of those.
And make it.
Exactly. But you're paying $9 for it because someone made it. But also, they had all these meetings. They went through it. They're mass producing it. They have the mold. They're doing all this. So it's just, if you enjoy something, if you like the idea, if you're intrigued by it, you wouldn't have thought it yourself. Just support this drum shop, support the companies, because that's how these new things are funded, and that's how we evolve and change. And yeah, if you bought it 10 years ago and something used to be $20, and now it's $4, don't complain that you overspent. That was because it was early, You're a hipster. Yeah. You're a hipster. You got there before everyone else did. But no, that's really, really awesome. Thanks for walking us through that.
Christopher walking us through.
All right, do it again. Do the whole R&D speech except as Christopher Walken.
It's crazy. I know. We're going to make some drums.
I think your next Instagram account is going to be you doing impressions talking about drums. That was pretty good. But speaking of that, this is my way of forcing a transition on you. Let's talk about your gram a little bit, your Insta.
The grams, the onlines?
The onlines, the intranet. I think it's what's called the intranet. No, but your page is like picking up crazy followers since we started following.
I've had some success with that. It took 5-6 years before I had any kind of success, but cymbal stacks are huge.
Big deal. And creating your own.
And been telling stores, Instagram is a great marketing tool to get your info out there. It really costs you nothing. And it's just about content. Doesn't even really matter what the content is as long as you're putting out some content. And I was like, cymbal stacks are big. Just grab any 2 cymbals, put them together. There's a stack. And so I've just started doing it after suggesting it to some stores for a while. And just hard to get going. And I wanted content for myself, and I was trying to like alternate between do a cymbal thing and then later in the week do a percussion thing, and then later. But who's got the time? Which is the problem at the store level. Everyone's always so busy.
You got to check your neon green watch and.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes. And so I just started doing cymbal stacks, and a few years go by, and I'm like, oh, I got 1,000 views on that one, and
Yeah.
one day one just took off, and I had like 10,000 views, and I was like, that's huge. I've made it.
Yes,
I'm
you've
internet
done it.
famous.
You did
and
it.
well, my hand is.
Yes, your
because
hand.
it might occasionally be in the video, and then actually I blew up huge on there with a blooper one. I had 2 splashes that I put together, and on as a hi-hat, and which got all warbly, and
Yeah.
like all of a sudden I like watched in 1 week I had like 150,000 views. I'm like, well, that's cool, and I'm like, it's a blooper reel.
Yeah.
And then it just kept blowing up, and I think it's at 1.6 million views now. It's kind of stalled.
Wow.
It's stalled.
Well, hey, that happens.
And it made me think like, well, it's just the funny. Like
Yeah.
just people wanted to share, and I'm doing short clips and stuff. But
Yeah.
I want to do more stuff. I don't want to just do cymbal stacks.
Of course. Yeah.
I've got my list of ones people have asked me to do could get me one a week. If I did 2 a week, I'd still wouldn't be done until middle of next year. So I've got.
Well, this is what we're going to do, folks. For all of you listening out there, let's bombard him with ideas. Let's make this
Do
list
it.
so long that he can't even get there. Pick 2 Meinl cymbals,
Any 2.
Any
Current
2.
model. Current production.
current production, Meinl cymbals, or percussion. Have you thrown like?
Yes.
Okay.
I've done some percussion
All right.
ones.
Listen, he's done it. He's done it.
I
He's
have
tried it all.
access. I run the showroom out of the U.S. office, which is not open to the public, but we have a showroom. So if we have a dealer coming through, they can come check out everything, or
Yeah,
to
you have
just do these
you've got
videos
one,
and stuff.
one of everything.
I
right?
have. It is one of every cymbal is in that room, and I can go grab if someone wants to hear the same 2 cymbals stacked or hi-hatted together. I can
Sure.
go make that happen. But
Yeah, if you got any ideas, Adam from Meinl.
and if you at any demo you want to hear
Yeah, absolutely.
a tambourine in a specific pattern or something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it out of time to make sure you can't just snake the audio and record your. But
There's just gonna be random people yelling in the background, like the mic's gonna be cutting in and out, like all this. You'll put a watermark on it for some reason, even though.
I'm just using the cell phone
Yeah.
microphone.
Yeah.
It's because you're watching it on your cell phone anyway. It's just
That's
to
it.
get you an idea.
That's what I was talking about.
Then you come to the
earlier.
store and you go see it, try it out in
Yep.
person.
And if they don't have it, you say, "This is what I want."
Yeah, I saw this stack. Can
Yep.
you get it?
And if you have a nice, friendly local drum shop, they'll get it in, let you hear it before you have to buy.
And if you ask them, if you ask your store owner nice enough, they can call Meinl and see if they can get the exact 2 cymbals that was in that stack.
It's true.
Because I know which ones they are.
There you go. There you have it. It's that simple. So yeah, your all of your success, we now want a percentage of it because of the promotion here on Drum Key. It's written in your contract.
Oh, I didn't sign it.
You know that receipt you signed earlier for chicken wings? We got you. We gotcha. No, but that's awesome. I wanted to give you the opportunity to comment on anything that happened earlier in the show. We were talking about nylon tips, cajones, and crank it up, turn it down, product launches, which we talked about a little bit, the R&D side, and drum industry news, the HCS cymbal pack in Hall of Fame, and the quick question: who's the best drummer?
Well, I mean, cajones, you got to crank it up. It's a drum set in a box. It's very low learning curve. Everyone should have one, and it's a place to sit.
It's true. It's also a seat.
I will personally have to turn down nylon tips from a marketing manufacturing standpoint. It's more money than what it comes out of, and but I mean they're out there. Everyone likes their own thing. I personally just grab whatever sticks on top of the pile.
Yep,
These
there you
days.
Keep it.
What was the
simple.
next thing we did? I can comment
We
on?
did talking about product launches.
Product launch. Just because it's very important to remember. Just because a company has announced a product, that does not mean it's available yet. It means it's in production. It's especially with shipping times. Meinl has over 7,000 products before you get, or when you include basic special spare parts. Kind of hard to get them all in one area. So, it's kind of like, hey, we announced all this stuff in January. We will have it before the end of the year. Usually, we'll have it all before mid-spring, but it all depends on when the shipping shows up.
Yeah, and then the HCS.
Well, thank you. You flatter us.
I know. I thought we were going to highlight some cymbals at some point anyway. So
Yeah.
I thought it was a good week for it.
I mean, we have artists that play them out. The first time I heard the HCS stuff in person when I started at Meinl, I was like, ooh, wow. Damn, that is a giggable, and that's our affordable line.
Right.
Like
That's where it
that's pretty
starts.
awesome, and it's brass. Like it's giggable. I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice, but like I would gig that. I would gig it out of spite too.
Kick it out of
In
spite.
spite, out of spite.
Yep.
Because of, I would gig them. I sometimes think about like selling off
Yeah.
all the cymbals and just having some HCS.
Yeah. You don't want to carry them home? Just give them to someone.
Yeah,
There you go.
throw just like a frisbee out into the
Like a
audience.
frisbee. Yeah,
it's nice and safe.
We
It's
do not
gonna-
recommend this at home. It's already dangerous enough that we throw drumsticks to an audience. I say we acting like I played at big crowds. I've never done that. I did throw a drumstick once, but the crowd was not drumstick throw worthy. I just kind of knew someone, so I chucked it at him. That's dangerous
And you
enough.
threw it and you give it back when we're done.
Yeah, we'll meet in the back. Yeah,
Put this in my stick bag.
Yeah, exactly. You're just trying to throw it into your car in the parking lot. Yeah, so that's very good. HCS's rule. And we talked about who's the best drummer.
Who's best?
And you said yes
Yes.
to that question.
Correct.
Correct is the better answer.
The better. Don't ask people who the best is. Just who's their. I like who are your top 5, because that way no one has, in no particular order. No, because it's hard. I couldn't tell you who's even my favorite drummer. It changes every hour. I could probably give you a top 5, or 3 would probably always be on there. But ask people their top 5 albums, or their what's the thing when you're stuck on an island that's deserted?
Yeah.
Your deserted island. Marooned.
What's the thing we asked? The favorite thing? What are
The
your
thing with the
favorites
stuff?
The islands and the stuff.
No.
Desert
island.
I think that is a good thing, but the only problem with that is you just made the quick question even less quick.
Well, I think people just want to talk.
Yeah, it's just all about the gab.
Yeah.
It's all about the gab.
Which
And
isn't
then,
that, I mean, it's a podcast. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's true. And then moving forward, I'd like to get your take on the interview with our guest, Adam from Meinl today. Crank it up, turn it down.
The interviewer, great. The interviewee, wait a minute. Which one am I? Adam would be really good.
Adam
did really
fantastic
good.
today.
Yes.
Adam was fantastic. All right, let's sign off. Do you know the sign off jingle?
You're writing the check for me now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. There you go. Sign off jingle. All right. So thank you guys for joining us here for another episode of Drum Key. If you want to contribute to the show, don't forget, leave comments below, of course. But we also have a Discord channel that we're trying to ramp up here where we can talk back and forth and have more of a conversation. Throw your ideas there. Let us know. Send us a message, whatever. But support your local drum shop, folks. If you don't have a local drum shop, we'd be happy to adopt you into our family. Thank you for being here, Adam. That mug is your takeaway. You are allowed to take that. Good luck not breaking it on the plane.
Drink the water first.
Drink the water first. So that's yours. I definitely don't want it now. All right, folks. We will see you next time.
Bye.